Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Prospero.ai Stock Market Live streams. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day. We have a lot of great stories to talk about, a lot happening in the AI world. And of course, Donald Trump is making headlines as he spoke at Davos today. So there's a lot to go over in the markets. I've seen recently our shorts on YouTube have been getting some more views. So if you're a regular viewer of these streams each week, but you don't watch our shorts, maybe you want to go check them out. There's some of the best moments from these streams, but then they're cut up and maybe a bit more entertaining and a bit more fast paced. Let's look at the QQQ and SPY net option sentiment in Prospero before I get into some of the stories that we're going to be talking about today. As usual, like the stream if you're excited for our topics and like our content and find it helpful. So I pulled up the QQQ in Prospero, and we are looking at a 45 net options sentiment level. So looking pretty good there. And the SPY is at 40. So the SPY is just below the QQQ, but if you look at the time series graph in Prospero for both of them now, they're uptrending and they're firmly up at the highs of where they've been at in their most recent ranges. So looking good in the markets. So like I said, Trump spoke at Davos this morning and he made a few headlines, but I think a couple of the most interesting ones was his plans for investing in the artificial intelligence wave that looks like it's on our doorstep, and how he plans to do this with nuclear power. I see Oklo, a stock we've talked about before on the stream, is making big moves today, and some other smaller nuclear stocks are as well. So we'll hit on that. And then also, Trump said directly that he wants interest rates to come down, and not only in the USA, but around the world. So it looks like Jerome Powell and Trump are going to be feuding soon over the direction of what rate should be. Maybe Jerome Powell agrees with Trump. Um, Maybe he doesn't, though. So that situation is going to be playing out over the coming year. And it looks like Trump is going to be pushing for lower rates. If Trump gets his way, we'll discuss some of the stocks that could benefit from lower rates. Comment from Mario. Afternoon all, the audio is a bit garbled. Is it? Does it sound garbled? Let me see if I could. Does it sound better if I hold this closer to my mouth? This isn't good. Let me know, Mario. Does it sound better if I put it higher? Maybe it's not hooked up properly right now. Not really? Let's see if the connection is working. Sorry, folks. Let me try to find out what's happening. Maybe the mic isn't connected to the stream right now. Let's see. Oh, I see the. Okay, let me know if it sounds any better now. It was connected to my headphones, but I think I just switched it to the mic, so it should sound better. Let me know. Jill said she could hear me. You could hear me, but it just wasn't as good. Did it switch over to the better quality? Much better, yeah? Okay, yeah. So it was connected to my headphones. I got it hooked up to the mic now. 1000% better. All right, we're good to go. Where did I leave off? Okay, so we have this Stargate that was announced with Oracle, SoftBank, and OpenAI, and it was a $500 billion plan to invest in the infrastructure for AI. Elon Musk was a quick criticizer of the plan, so we'll discuss how him and Sam Altman seem to be having this feud that only seems to be heating up, and maybe this is the first rift between Elon and Donald Trump, as Trump was the one who was announcing the plan. And then more headlines came out of this. Larry Ellison from Oracle announced a type of mRNA vaccine that he believes will be a cure for cancers and can be personalized to each person individually. He mentioned some details about how it works, which I'll share when we discuss this story in detail, but seems like a promising technology. And then OpenAI launched a product called Operator, which seems to be what a lot of these large language models seems to be the next step in the evolution for them, where this is kind of like a personal agent. And they shared some things where it can plan vacations for you, it can do personal shopping for you, fill out forms for you, make restaurant reservations. So um, all of these AI companies seem to be launching their own personal agents going forward. I don't know how trusting you guys feel. If you would trust a personal AI agent to do some of these tasks for you, or maybe you want to see how it works for other people first, but it seems like it's coming. Then we have a stock we've covered on the stream before, ASTS. It's one of the stocks taking advantage of the push into the space industry. They were down today after they announced a $400 million private offering. So the shares were diluted a bit because of this news. Let me take a live look and see where it is right now. I think it was down like 17% this morning. So it's come back a little bit throughout the day. They're down just under 13% right now. But we've covered these, Rocket Lab and ASTS. So I want to give an update and hear from George about how he feels, if this is beneficial for the company in the long term, raising money, or if it's truly as bearish as the stock reacted this morning. And then last but not least, before we turn it over to the model portfolio at the end of the stream today, we are going to discuss the top 5 retailers closing stores in America, because I feel like a lot of our stories recently have been pretty bullish. It's easy to lose sight on the businesses that are struggling at this current time, but it seems like these places are. And as these places are struggling, Walmart is currently trading at very high valuation. So it seems like it's a winner take all. Hello, George. Welcome to the stream.
How do I it's another bright day? Can you see me?
I can see you pretty good, but it looks a little laggy.
Oh no, not an internet problem. God, we haven't had one of these in a while. I actually restarted. That was the thing because I was seeing it.
I had my own technical issues before you even got here, so we're off to a hot start today, me and you.
Just one of those days.
Well, as you're looking at what the internet situation is, let me get a live look at the markets for our viewers before we set up our first round of discussions today. Last time we streamed, the Russell was the leader of all the indices, which was unusual, as it's just been, one of the more underperforming indexes for a while, seemingly. We're kind of back to that, power rankings today, although the QQQ is the only one that's red right now, and we have the Dow Jones leading. SPY and Russell are in the middle. So I feel like that's also unusual. There's not many days I feel like that we've seen the QQQ red and the Dow Jones very green. I'm not sure if there's anything we want to read into that. I know we're going to start discussing a lot of the comments that Trump made at Davos, so maybe that has something to do with it, some of the energy talks that he was giving. But let me see if you're looking any better.
Yeah, I don't know what's it's one of those things that sometimes I'm gonna try one more thing and then I just might need to restart one more time.
No problem.
I don't know. Sometimes when I restart, the internet is just having issues.
So we have 17 people in here live watching on YouTube.
Restart one more time. Sorry, everyone, for the late start.
Let's see. Is it looking any better? Did we lose George? Oh, I think he said he was restarting, right? Here, I'll remove him since he's oh, I just made him big accidentally, since that was frozen. But sorry, everybody, for the snafu we're having today. But thank you for sticking around. It will be worth it once we get into the topics because there are some great topics to discuss. Uh, Let me just say, because I see we have 20 people in here on YouTube, if there's anything that you want to hear brought up on today's stream, and you weren't here for the round of topics I just went through, just feel free to comment them in the chat. We're happy to get into anything that you guys are wondering and what you want to hear about talked about on stream today. So feel free to comment them right now, and we'll get into them as soon as George gets back in here. Obviously, if you're a regular viewer, please like the stream. It's good for us growing on YouTube. It helps YouTube realize that people actually like our videos, and YouTube begins to share them with more people. We are approaching, let's see, let's get a live look. How many subs are we at right now? We crossed 2,000 recently. We're at 2,111 subscribers. So thank you all for subscribing. On our path to 3,000, hopefully sooner rather than later. But we'll wait for George to get back in here today. Something that Trump did not say at Davos, maybe he made a very brief mention because he said that he wants to make America the capital of the AI and crypto industries. But I think some people thought he was going to announce a Bitcoin strategic reserve today at Davos, which wasn't announced. So left some people in the Bitcoin community a little disappointed, possibly. Comment from Ted. Love to hear his thoughts on BOJ rate decision and yen carry trade. Did we learn anything from August, mostly unwound now, or will it repeat some? Yeah, the flash crash in August was crazy. We'll definitely get into that. Are the yen and the dollar at levels now that they were back in August? That it's going to start pushing on the market again? But I will ask George about that when he gets back in here for sure. I think the markets are currently at, I know the SPY made an intraday high yesterday. It looks like we are a little bit off of that level, but we're right there. So market is not pricing in any concern as of right now. They're actually all pushing all-time highs, except the Russell, I believe. Yeah, the Russell still has a little work to do, but it'll probably get back there soon enough. One story I don't think I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I'm not sure with the delay we've had now in the beginning of the stream if we'll get to it today, but EA Sports was another stock that get hit hard, down 19% this morning after they cut their forecast. And it's interesting because they're seeing a lack of demand and they're in the entertainment space. And then you have a stock like Netflix that just crushed their earnings. Maybe Netflix is just gobbling up everybody's available entertainment viewing hours. Let's look at Netflix today. Yep, Netflix is back over 980. A lot of people expect them to cross the $1,000 mark from what I've heard pretty soon. And they just crushed their earnings. I think I saw they had the most subscriber growth since the pandemic. It was like 18 million subscribers in a single quarter. Pretty insane numbers from a company that's already massive, far surpassed probably every other entertainment company at this point. You know what? They're beginning to be like how Tesla is like, if you combine all of the other automakers' market caps, Tesla is like the biggest one. I feel like Netflix is kind of doing that now in the entertainment space. I see they are at 420 billion in market cap. Let's look at where Disney is. I don't think it's as crazy as what Tesla has done in the automaker world, but it's probably not too far behind. Let's see. Disney is at around 200 billion. So Netflix is two times bigger than Disney at this point. Pretty crazy how Disney let that happen. They had such a big head start. If they had jumped into streaming a little bit quicker, maybe that wouldn't be the case. Disney stock also hasn't done anything for 10 years. They were, Yeah, if you look at a long-term chart, they were at this price in 2015. So Disney's been struggling. What else can we talk about as we're waiting for George to join us back here today? Is anybody following anything in particular these current days? Any short-term trades? Any signals in Prospero, stocks in Prospero that uh, have caught your attention, and you're watching them extremely closely to see if they break one way or the other in the next couple weeks? Let's see in the chat. I have a feeling George is going to join us back in the Prospero.ai laboratory when he comes back. Not in his normal setup, but we will see. Comment from Ted Chairman, BTC Big Candle. Jill is saying Palantir call was a good one. Let's look at both of them. Bitcoin just popped over 105,000, up 3% on the day. Yeah, it did just make a big move. Was there anything announced for Bitcoin? I mean, Bitcoin is pretty volatile, so I think it could move like that from basically nothing, but we'll see. We'll see if there's any news. Take a look at Palantir. I know a stock that's been getting a lot of attention recently is the ticker TEM, Tempest AI, because Nancy Pelosi took a big position in it right before the inauguration, and it's moved a lot recently. Let's see, in the last week, it's up 53%. So what's the story there? Palantir is up 1.7% today, over $78 now, pushing back towards the highs. Its high was 82 just a few weeks ago. GRRR, Gorilla Technology Group. Interesting. This is not one I was looking at all. Bob Safford, thanks for bringing that one up. Looks like it kind of rocketed towards the end of last year and is consolidating now. It's a video intelligence, Internet of Things, security, edge, AI, data analytics. That looks like a cool company. Any opinion on Nebius? Nebius, I do not know Nebius. Nebius technology company that provides infrastructure and services to AI builders worldwide. It sounds like a company that would definitely benefit from the Stargate AI infrastructure project, $500 billion expected to be coming in the next 4 years to the United States. Seems like one that would be a prime beneficiary, although I see its headquarters in Amsterdam, so maybe it wouldn't be, maybe they would want USA companies to be the biggest beneficiaries of that. So, but seems like it's in the right line of work. Using Con-L for the coin callouts. So you're playing Con-L over coin. Con-L is a 2 times long coin daily ETF. So you're getting a little bit of leverage on the coin. European based for EU exposure for Nebius. True, because whatever the USA does, European countries are probably gonna, have their own version of it in some capacity. So, yeah, that's a good idea, and get a little bit of diversity in the positioning. What do you think, guys? You think George just ditched us today? It's just going to be us on the stream, or just me and the chat? I don't know. He hasn't let me know anything. Oh, speak of the devil.
Wow, I'm sorry about that. Did this work? I don't even think it worked in the end.
I don't think so.
I don't know what is going on. All right, I'm switching to the lab. I apologize.
No problem. We'll see you. We'll see you on the other side. Me and the chat are just hanging out. We're getting to know each other. All right, so Con-L. So I am definitely going to keep tracking See, I like when you guys bring up stocks that you're interested in because now I could track them, and then, if things happen over the coming days or if there's any stories about them, I could bring them up. Um, because I know you guys will be interested. So, GRR, we'll track that one. Let me add it to a list. GRR, and then Nebius, I definitely want to keep track of. Any others? Any other tickers that, if stories come up, you want to hear me bring them up on stream? Just comment the tickers right now in the chat.
Here we go.
Here we go. We gotta slam these stories in today.
Oh my god, that was annoying. Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Okay, so I think we should start off with Trump speaking at Davos. So one of the things he highlighted, which it kind of builds, we're going to talk about the Stargate project right after this, but he highlighted how he wants to power AI using nuclear, and he said he'll even use an emergency declaration to get this stuff happening quicker. And we see stocks like Oklo moving up a lot today. Some other small nuclear stocks that are moving a lot. SMR, I think LEU is one. Is this the real deal, or is it too late to get in these stocks now that they have popped up? They were even moving higher last year. Now they're up 13, 15% across the board today. Is it too late, or is it just beginning?
I mean, it's really, really hard on these things. And sorry, I'm doing one more thing. It's really hard, right? Because when you're looking at this, the valuations are really difficult on nuclear stocks, on, the same thing when we talk about quantum computing, right? But these days, difficult valuations, as in like hard to wrap your head around, right, doesn't necessarily mean that the stock still can't run, right? So whether or not it's too late is kind of like what we always say. It really depends. We'd look at net option sentiment, right? We'd track it. I wouldn't jump in today because it's already like run a lot and the news is there. But I think that's how I think about these things. Like, yeah, I'm interested if it matches up, if net option sentiment looks right. But I'd also be very quick. I'd also be very quick to get out.
And one of the things he also directly said was that he wants interest rates lower. And I know this is kind of something we've talked about before, him and Jerome Powell. Maybe Jerome Powell won't want to cut them as fast, but now we have Trump. We were kind of pontificating about it before, but now it's the real deal. He said it. So how do you foresee this this battle between these two going? Who do you think has the upper hand? Who will win in the coming interest rate meetings?
Yeah, I mean, we have been talking about it, right? But not exactly, again, something we say like, not our most difficult position prediction. But yeah, I mean, this is where you really don't have a map, right? I think a lot of people say, well, the Fed is independent. You can't fire like them and fire the Fed chairman. And while that's true, right? Trump and some presidents before him that knew how to use their power well, know how to do just that, right? They could create an uncomfortable situation for Powell. And there's things in between. There could just be, Powell saying, either, he could be in it playing the long game and he could say, look, either he might replace me with just some like I might get replaced with just some yes man that isn't going to really take care of the economy that well. Or maybe I play ball a little bit. I don't have rates exactly the way I want to, but I push back and say I'm willing to cut this much. And he thinks he gets him to meet in the middle, right? There's a lot of permutations. We don't really know where it's going, but I think we do know exactly what we predicted, that, whether it's Powell or whether there's, some workaround or some backroom deal or whatever, there's going to be a friendlier interest rate environment under Trump, because he cares about that stuff. He cares about the stock market, and anytime you have the president, even a president that's, kind of less willing to lean on people and use their power than Trump, right? No matter who the president is, them caring about something is an important, step in it happening, right? So I think that we're definitely looking at um, a situation where, as we expected, it's going to be a very friendly interest rate environment. How friendly, we'll see, but definitely friendly.
And I know some stocks are very sensitive to interest rates, and I think they're like a lot of things that are related to real estate. So I'm thinking like Zillow, Redfin, a lot of REITs, and like any home building stocks. Would you say that they are a lot more interesting off of this, update and finalization that we got from Trump today about how he's going to be pushing for lower rates, or are they just
Well, I think
not there yet?
I think what you always have to keep in mind, right? And this is a big, value investing lesson, is how much is baked into the price. And I think a lot of people get that wrong, right? So you could easily say like those could perform well, right? But then there's the other side of it too. It's like, okay, people knew Trump was taking office. They probably could surmise, the same kinds of things we're saying here, that it's going to be a friendly interest rate environment. How much of that that expectation is already baked in, right? And then it's what expectation. That's what we're talking about, and like all this fuzziness in between, right? It could be that when the rates actually lower, they wanted to see that and there wasn't that, or there could be so much baked in that within that price they were actually expecting lower interest rates than what's happening, right? So I think you always have to keep that in mind, and that's why I don't do trades like that, right? I don't do like, okay, who's going to be helped the most by interest rates, because I don't know how to answer that question, right? I prefer to say, oh, I like this company for XYZ reason, right? And I also think they'll be helped with interest rates, right? It's a nice second or third characteristic, but I don't like that to be the lead because of the problem that I talked about.
And so I want to cover this Stargate story, which is kind of building on what we were talking about with Trump and the nuclear infrastructure for AI. So it was announced that $500 billion, well, 100 billion definitely, up to 500 billion over the next 4 years, will be invested in AI infrastructure by Oracle, SoftBank, and OpenAI. It's a joint venture, and they were all there, all the CEOs of those companies, and Trump announcing it yesterday. And then, who was a quick criticizer of it was Elon Musk, and the feud between him and Sam Altman just continues to grow. Almost right away, he criticized it and said they don't actually have those funds liquid to be able to do this. And he was bringing up some of Sam Altman's old tweets against Trump. But how confident are you in this AI infrastructure deal? And is it going to be really bullish for a lot of these AI companies?
Yeah, I think we are talking about the infrastructure. I mean, it's looking pretty solid. I think actually someone shared on our Discord. I should have I wonder if I can I paste an image here? No, maybe I'll just share. And hey, maybe join our Discord so you can get things like this. I can definitely post a link. I will do that, and then I will actually.
If you're watching on YouTube, the link's actually in our description. You could just click on that for Discord.
Oh, the Discord link is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will just move right to this. But I actually think this is a really helpful kind of cheat sheet on it. And it gives you some background, so you can also kind of like think about everything involved in it. It's funny. I think someone noted like I didn't read this, and my guess was Palantir was going to do well from this, and it did. So I would say that's a notable omission from this, because obviously it rose on the news pretty well. So that was my own George algorithms, not this tenant research. But yeah, I actually think this is a pretty good, but like just for an overview of how it would help. But yeah, I mean, I think, but again, we're dealing with a situation that you can't repeat enough. We don't know how much of it is baked into the price, right? So I wouldn't buy any of those stocks just on this alone. I would let you know. And I actually thought about buying Oracle, and I bought Palantir instead for the exact reasons we're discussing, right? And I think Oracle probably did a little better, but it doesn't matter. It's not, it's not the process. It's not my process, right? I was like, oh, actually, Oracle's the most obvious one. But if I'm thinking about AI beneficiaries that I actually, might like, and then you even have like, the Peter Thiel, connection to, and JD Vance, all that, that cocktail. And that's what had me pick Palantir to ride that news event. But yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I guess for a lot of Trump stuff, it's kind of the same advice where it's just like, we have to see, we have to see how it plays out. Some of these things are difficult to predict. We also don't know even if someone's going to be helped, how much is built into the price already. So it's a great secondary support, right? And I'm kind of thinking about that in everything I trade into right now. Like, I'm trying to think about, like, is there some Trump angle, right? And if you go through my portfolio right now, Palantir, Tesla on the longs, Palantir, Tesla, Geo coin. So we're already talking about more than half the type 2 coin. And you could maybe argue app on this AI thing, but probably even if you don't, we're talking about like 5 of 9 stocks with a pretty direct, Trump thesis underlying it. So that is, I think, what my best advice is on all of these things, right? Whether it be a Trump thesis or better it be like, interest rates associated with that, use it as a second check, not a first. Use your normal system and then have that be a support structure.
My question for that is, how long does the Trump effect last? Well, where you'll pick stocks directly based on, is that his whole term, or is that an initial pop that makes this the case and then it'll kind of fade throughout his presidency, or is that something you expect to last over the course of 4 years?
I'm going to do the same thing with any strategy. I'm going to pursue it until it looks like it might be losing steam. And I expect maybe that'll be the whole 4 years, but maybe 3. Maybe people start to hedge their bets as it starts to come down. But like, it's always a good question. You have to balance. One of the biggest mistakes, like veterans and rookies investors make a lot, is pursuing the same strategy for too long just because it's worked for them for a while even, or it's worked really well and they've had some big gains and they end up losing more on the strategy in the end because they don't know how to, they're still riding so high off their win that they just keep chasing that same technique. And so, what would I look at? Like, for example, like, I've got these 5 open positions, right? If at least 3 of them I close out as wins, I would probably say the strategy's still alive and well, right? If we're talking about 2 of 5, I'd start to scale down the strategy, right? I'd say, okay, about half my portfolio is at this strategy. Maybe only 20% should be in now that I see signs of weakening, right? And that's a really good way to think of strategies, right? Strategies that work, like, and the Trump trade has worked very well for me. They deserve a good in your portfolio, right? Not all. Like, I think about 50% is, as much as you want in one kind of thought process. But then, even if you're quitting something, you don't have to quit it all the time, because the fact of the matter is 2 of 5 could be right. And then next week, these things could be charging again. And I could be like, well, Trump's still president. I'm an idiot for bailing on this strategy too soon, right? So it's a balance, but that's the right way to do things, right? You layer into a strategy, then you layer out of it if it starts to show signs of it faltering.
And I know you said you picked Palantir over Oracle, but on the stream, you professed your love for the cloud providers, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Does Oracle have a chance to like join that list, and maybe instead of a trio, it's a Mount Rushmore? I saw that Oracle will be providing cloud services to OpenAI now, so Microsoft isn't the sole provider. How do you feel about that?
I like the cloud providers because that's not their only business, too, right? Like, if you look at all the cloud providers, cloud is just like a healthy, unit of an otherwise thriving business, right? I mean, Amazon's just like, you don't need to explain Amazon. But, Google obviously has that big search beachhead. Even still, Microsoft's got, Windows, right? Oracle doesn't have anything like that, right? They're only dependent on the cloud stuff. And, to have a wider view, right? If I could say, you know what, Oracle's the best cloud provider, right? Then my tune would change, right? I don't even know if they're any better than Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. I don't really think so. I'm not sure there is a best cloud provider. They all kind of have strengths and weaknesses, but it's certainly not Oracle. And Oracle also has like a lot of older legacy systems. I don't know how much they've modernized, but when you think about that, it's always important to think about, because they have these wider businesses too. A place like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they can also invest more in, having good vendor relationships, the kind of pricing they can offer you, the kind of support they can offer you at the price. Like Oracle was always kind of known as more expensive for their support. But at a time, they were maybe the best at that, but they aren't. So I think that's a really good way to kind of surround the issue, if you will, right? Like when businesses have a wider base and a really good unit like cloud, it's way better. But also, like, if you're the best at what you do, right, you wouldn't catch me saying like, oh, all NVIDIA does is high performance computing, right? That's a fine, that's a fine business to be in, and they're the best at it. But you look at their huge market share, you look at that, you need to be the best at something if you're going to be valued well on that alone.
And a story about OpenAI that I wanted to bring up today was they're launching a new product. They're calling it Operator. So it's like an agent basically that can handle tasks for you. It can plan, what they said it can do is plan vacations, fill out forms, order groceries, and make restaurant reservations. So are you going to be trusting of these products? You're going to be one of the first adopters of them, or do you think you're going to want to see other people? And how do you think the rate of adoption will be? It seems like another level of trust than just like the large language model question and answer format we've had with AI as of now. This is kind of a little bit more.
Yeah, but also, like, isn't that kind of funny in that I remember, like, we're not that far removed from someone using travel agents, right? Like physical people were making that. And I kind of think about that, where it's just like, I think this is a first version of something, right? I know a lot of like companies that are working on something like this. And it's like really cool. The idea, like, because it's a pain in the ass, like looking for flights of everything. But, right, there's a certain amount, there's like a trust factor still, right, with a lot of this stuff that I probably wouldn't be an early adopter, right? Like, I would probably need to hear many sources I trust be like, oh, this booked the best flight for me, right? Before I trusted it. Because like, even if it was like, this is the best flight, I found it, I booked it, right? I would probably, want to go and verify, like, through my sources, because I don't know if it actually knows how to find the best flight, right? So I think that's something that it's going to have to work out. I think it's really cool, and eventually these kinds of things will work really well. But to take it to extreme, flight's really easy because that's easy to verify, right? But map that problem even more, right? I'm pretty particular about what I do on vacation, right? If I just like even gave it some tips and then what I liked, again, I would be a little skeptical that it knows how to search and verify what I want right off the bat, right? I probably need to hear other people be like, wow, it's really good. And I mean, the other thing of where we're going with this kind of thing is what would work really, really well is if to start, I could like upload, pictures, things like that from vacations, things like being able to read, my emails, like look up prior reservations, everything like that, right? I personally don't have a problem with that kind of thing. Some people are like, that's my privacy. And I was like, Google has all that anyway already. What's it matter to me if one more one more source? Google, the American government, like, who knows? What's one more big brother once we've had them? But that's what I'm saying. The early products are not going to have that kind of knowledge, and the early products are just going to be basically you are teaching them how to do better. And that is personally not really how I want to spend my time.
No, that's actually a really good point. Like you should get paid if they're bettering their product based off like your responses and your experience and you're testing it. Um, I know we're
Yeah.
pushing on.
But I mean, some people love to be those early adopters.
Yeah.
They're just like, they relish to be like, oh, Google planned my, they planned my first vacation or whatever.
If we had more time, I'd tell a funny story, but we have to get to this next one. So I want to bring up ASTS on stream today. It's down. It was down as much as 17% after they announced a 400 million private offering. So a bit of dilution to the shareholders, but with the emphasis that Trump has put on space exploration and how we've seen, I would say, fairly good signals, at least in these smaller space companies, Rocket Lab and ASTS, the past several months. Do you think this just can be a blip and it could, gain from here, or is this a bad sign?
Let's think about that. I mean, ASTS isn't really a space exploration company. Like we're talking about like cell phone service, right? Like I think that's a pretty big differentiator. Then you also have the thing of like, maybe with Elon Musk so powerful, I don't think Elon Musk likes ASTS very much. I think he'd rather beam down say like phone signals himself. Then you also have the aspect, and it's retail investors have changed the market in a lot of ways. But one of the most interesting ways is this like despising dilution, right? Like, yes, if you're trying to get a short squeeze, like sending the extra shares and that dilution isn't the best thing, right? But a company with like a good stock price, like raising capital that's going to help them grow, like that is not the bad event that a lot of investors, especially like, meme investors, seem to treat it as. I don't think that's anytime soon because that's just become like, what looks like a foundational truth in the market now, especially with like retail heavy stocks. It's not as true in ones that don't have as much retail attention. But to me, that's my biggest concern about ASTS now, right? Is there going to be like, what is their business going to look like in an industry where, pretty competitive, that like they're pretty competitive to Starlink. It's not internet, but it probably wouldn't be that hard to outfit those Starlink satellites with phone service. Now it's another question if Verizon would want to do business with Starlink versus like a startup like ASTS that I could push around a little more. which is I'm sure what it likes. But yeah, we like that'll be an interesting thing to follow because that's my biggest concern about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a great point of how much people are fearful of dilution nowadays. But I know we have to switch over to the model portfolio. Matt, who, if you're a regular viewer on our stream, actually just texted me. He said that Trump signed some kind of executive order on crypto. It's about to be public. So if it comes through while we're on stream right now, I'll let everybody know. But someone had mentioned that Bitcoin was moving up earlier in the stream, so maybe there's something
It's
about to
moving
happen.
down right now.
Maybe it's not what the market was expecting.
I mean, I don't see it as public news. Matt, can you share? Can you send me a link to what you're seeing if you're watching? Fake news. Oh man. I never thought I'd get to fake news Trump. He doesn't say that anymore, really. I was like, oh,
No.
I feel like he used to say it like on a daily basis, but I don't I can't remember the last time I've heard him say fake news.
I mean, now he's going to be back in the spotlight where he gets. Doesn't the president? I don't know if Biden was doing it, but I think I remember he used to give like a daily conference or something. I don't know if he'll be doing that or if it's daily or weekly, but he should have a lot more interactions with reporters, I guess, now as president.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've seen him interviewed a few times, and maybe people are fearful of being called fake news, so they're much more careful with what they ask him now.
Oh, Haley's commenting. U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an order to create a cryptocurrency working group, fulfilling a campaign promise after he courted cash from digital asset companies, pledging to be a crypto president.
What is
So
he
maybe
working?
maybe he did sign something, but it was disappointing to the market. It seems like, or at least initially.
Yeah, Jonathan, the best thing is to just log it on instead of here. Just log those ticker requests on um Discord, because I'm just going to go back and grab them. That system is just, we've been prioritizing other things, but we do want to get it online. We got to start moving to this letter. I was doing some setup a bit, but no, I think I did it in like 12 minutes the other day. So let's see if I can do it in 12 minutes today. All right, getting that. Then we need. All right. You got QQQ and SPY for me?
Oh, yes, I will. SPY is at 40. And QQQ is at 48.
Okay.
SPY is now 42.
That doesn't look right.
Strange mixture with large cap value first and mid cap growth second. When we see a lot of differentiation like this, we don't really want to target anything in particular. Here we also see a bit of inconsistency between 1 day and 1 week. Consumer defensive looks a bit weaker and the best bear target, as well as consumer cyclical. Industrials might be the most consistent. Bull, but nothing is screaming target here either. Entering long Netflix was a good idea, huh?
Oh, is it doing well again today?
Yeah, I think I saw they were up today.
It's always like a tough call when something's like running really well. Will it continue to run is the question. TQQQ yesterday was not our best call, but let's see. All right, that is ready. At the top again. No, it's different. I was like, is this the same as yesterday? No, just the top. Interesting. Triple M back there. I feel like today I would like add Netflix to like the high conviction portfolio, and then it would go the other way, and I'm not getting suckered into that. But QQQ had a bit of an underwhelming day, so I'm kind of surprised. We already have a triple N position. It's doing so well. GW. What do we have here? We'll go long and short financials. Great. Damn, I think I remember when STNG was really good. It's too small cap. It's a land. Any consumer cyclical up here? No. Yeah, we can go a little heavier short today. No problem. What was these real estate ones? Nah, I don't necessarily think I want a real estate one. Some stocks have been like broken all day. Google, I don't know what's up with that. Ooh, hood is turning interesting. I didn't even. All right. The last thing here, we're just going to take a look. Why not do this with everybody? And so you might have these high conviction ones in your portfolios. TRGP, maybe, nothing really movable. Let's see on the short side. EMPH really screwed me today. Oh. There was like a news event and it went the other way pretty fast. What's EXR? Oh, all right, time to close that out. That was a big swing, but yeah, maybe we'll see. All right, I think that is everything.
Okay, we did that in a good time. You might have beat your record there, but everybody,
thank you for coming here today. We'll be back on a normal schedule next week, so Monday, Wednesday. But until then, have a great rest of the week trading, investing, and we'll see you then. Bye, George.
Bye.